Patrick here, have Cheetah Will View, and we are here to review another film. Another film. And the film that we're going to be talking about today is a movie that you guys all should watch at least 20 times. Today we'll be talking about Chef. I know I'm showing the disc. Anytime I show a disc like that, that means this came from my buddy Catfish's collection. Um, yeah, he ran out of room, so he put all his stuff in folders, binders. So there's no case for it. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about Chef. Chef was a 2014 film that was written and directed by Jon Favreau. We know Jon Favreau. He's a fine director. He's become a very sought out in demand director. He also acted too. Many of us remember seeing Jon Favreau um, in Swingers with Vince Vaughn. It was the first time many of us saw him, but he has built himself up to have a tremendous career. And in 2014, he made this movie about a chef that is creatively in a rut and needs to find himself. And he does with the help of his family and friends. This is this is a absolutely joyful movie. Um, I I love this movie so much. I got it as a blind buy. I did not know anything about this movie. I got this at Family Video. Uh, yeah, I have a copy too. I just Catfish is just so close to me, so I know where it's at. So the movie is basically about a chef named Carl Casper, who's played by Jon Favreau, and he is just in a creative rut. He once was considered a very hot chef when he was in Miami, but he's moved to LA and he's been cooking at this one restaurant now for 10 years, and he is in a creative rut. So he gets a chance to have his food reviewed, and so he wants to go ahead and still show people that he's got imagination and he's got ideas and to cook a new menu. And the restaurant owner, who's played by Dustin Hoffman, named Rivas, does not want him to do that. He does not want him to be adventuresome. So he tells Carl to just cook his hits. That leaves Carl really frustrated. He puts out all the favorite foods, but it doesn't impress the critic, Ramsey Michelle. It doesn't impress him at all, and he basically rips the restaurant a new ass. Especially Carl, calling him unimaginative and boring, and it's the same. I mean, close your eyes and know what you're going to get. Of course, that frustrates Carl even more, and he's trying to he's trying to make a go of it, and he's balancing a personal life too that includes taking out visiting with his son and taking him out and doing activities with him. And he's got a good relationship with his ex-wife Inez, who's played by Sofia Vergara. But she wants him to, she wants what's best for Carl. Everybody does. That's one thing. Everybody agrees that Carl's a good guy. Um, so Carl, he hears about the critics through Twitter. On Twitter, they ripped him, uh, Carl, and it was not a good review. Got 2 stars out of what, five, four, still not good. So of course this frustrates Carl, and he decides that he's going to go back and cook the original meal that he was going to cook for that critic, and now he's going to do that. Now she's going to, he gets into a little bit of a Twitter war with him, and he says, "You come back, I'll show you what I got." But of course, Riva steps in and does not let him do that, which of course leads Carl to quit. He quits the restaurant and right before the meal. But and they elevate a sous chef named Tony up to to the chef. He takes over Carl's spot, and he cooks the same menu that Carl cooked. So the reviewer is seeing the same food that he just got done ripping, and of course this leads to the reviewer's just like he's over it, but so is Carl. And Carl when he finds out that Ramsey Michelle is still at the restaurant, he dashes over there and blows him up, and of course that goes viral. which is not a good thing. Uh, you don't want that, but that's what happens. It goes viral, and so now Carl is he doesn't have a job and he doesn't have any prospects because who's going to hire a chef that goes off the rail like that? So he's a little bit nervous about what he's going to do. But Inez, who happens to be a very successful actress, tells him that, listen, come with me down, and Percy, that's the son, come with us down to Miami. We're gonna go see my dad and Percy's grandfather. So they do that. They fly down to Miami and they go visit her grandfather, her father, who's a musician, and uh, so Inez plants the idea of doing a food truck in Carl's ear, and with the help of Marvin, another ex-husband, Carl gets a food truck, a beat up food truck. Um, he tells his best friend Martin at the restaurant that he's got himself a food truck, and Martin drops everything and he dashes down to Miami to help Carl because they're best friends. And so they get the truck up and running, and then they decide that they're going to do is they're going to drive that truck from Miami to Los Angeles. So it becomes a road trip. So um, so we see the three of them driving across the country, setting up a base in the different cities and selling their food out of the food truck. And Percy is the son is helping out by tweeting where the truck's going to be at and showing pictures and everything. And so by the time they get there to wherever the next stop is going to be, there's already a crowd waiting for them. And it's really, really, really fun. They go through New Orleans, they go through Austin, Texas, then they go to California. And so, slowly Inez and Carl fall back in love. And so they set up their food truck out in LA, and lo and behold, here comes the same critic, Ramsey Michelle. He comes up there, and Inez is very frosty to him, as you can expect. But he has to speak to Carl, and Carl goes out there and says, "Well, what do you want?" And he goes, what he basically said was he was expecting more from Carl. He wanted to be wowed by him. He expected more. He was in a rut. He knew it. He didn't mean some of the things he said, and he also loves some of the food that Carl's been he loves the food that Carl's been kicking down from the food truck, and so he says, I want to back you. I want to open a restaurant, and I'm going to back you. And so he says, you're cooking sensational, and so I can do this. I got a place over here. You can help me. You can help. Whatever you want to see it planned out, laid out. And so that's what happens. And the end of the movie, um, spoilers alert. There's a happy ending. Let's put it that way. It's a happy ending. Um, so yeah, this movie is an absolute joy. Like I said, this reminds me of films like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, in the sense that it's a little more edgier. I will give it that, but it's just a joyful movie, and it's going to have a great ending. There's not going to be any drama to it. There's not going to be any heavy emotional. It's just a great it's just a great look of a man who wants more for himself, expects more for himself, and just loves to do what he does. He is a chef. That's what he is. That's what he's about. And he's working on being a better man and a better father. And he's well loved and respected. You can see that by the interaction with his friends. And his man can cook. He's got skills. Like I said, the taco truck is beat to snot, but Carl fixes it. He works with his son to get the truck cleaned and rebuilt. Um, it's just a really strong movie. It's made from love. The cast is absolutely A list. You have John Leguizamo as Martin, Sofia Vergara, probably my favorite role that she's done that I've seen her in. I absolutely loved her Inez. Super sweet and very spicy, but smart as hell too. Bobby Cannavale as Tony. Didn't have that big of a role, but he's strong in it. He's a really good actor too. And Scarlett Johansson plays Molly, who Carl and her they have a really interesting relationship. Not quite sexual, but there's tension there between the two of them. Um, and I mean, it could go that way, but Molly sort of knows better. Of course, we have Oliver Platt playing the critic Ramsey Michelle. He was really strong. Dustin Hoffman, of course, is the legend. Uh, just overall, music by Gary Clark. Uh, Music in this movie is outstanding as well. It's one of the best. It's one of the best music. I mean, if I was going to get a soundtrack for a movie, this would definitely be one I would get. This fantastic soundtrack. The music in this movie elevates it. It's fantastic. Um, it was good. It was. You could definitely tell this was a movie, a work of passion for Jon Favreau. He wrote the movie as well as directing it and acting in it. Um, he is very well known for his. He has a reputation for food. He has done many shows with food, and there's one show that he did where he had his peers come in. They shut down a restaurant, and then they get served a nice meal, and they just talk about their careers and life. It's really neat. It's a really cool show. Didn't last long enough. I think it only ran for 3 seasons. It should have still be going actually. Um, he also had help with this movie too. He was also inspired by this movie. He has a relationship with the very well known chef named Roy Choi, and Roy Choi advised him on the technicalities of being a chef and running the food truck, and so that comes into play. In the commentary, you can listen to the commentary. It's Jon Favreau and Roy Choi. They're talking about the movie and what it took to make it. Overall, this is just one movie I highly recommend. It's one of the best movies that I've seen in a very long time, and it's one of those movies you find yourself wanting to break out. You know, if you're in a bad mood, break out Chef. An hour and 40 minutes later, you will be in a good mood. All right. That is our review of Chef. We think it's an outstanding film. It's a good deep look at a man who's just looking to capture the fire that to keep that passion going that made him into a success. It's a good character study. All right. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, let you know whenever I do something crazy like this, or I do a live interview show, or do the Midnight Society on Sunday nights, or the ISC Midnights on the last Sunday of every month. Yeah, or you could drop a comment down below. That'll be awesome as well. And yeah, we'll see you for the next review. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.